Howdy traders, and welcome to this lesson. In this lesson we're going to summarize pretty much everything that we spoke about in the previous lessons on how to reduce your losses. Now this could be a case where you've got multiple positions open and you're running out of margin, you don't have additional capital to fund your account, and you want to try and reduce your margin, or at least increase your margin in order to be able to keep your positions open. It could also be a case where you're trying to reduce your margin requirements by reducing your positions that you have on different currency pairs. We'll go ahead and dive into it right now. So let's go ahead and take a look. So how to reduce your losses to increase your margin. That's key right here, because the more margin you have, all right, the more trades that you can go ahead and place, but at the same time, you also got to control your drawdowns too. And then how you do that is through these different options. Now, no one wants to take losses, but if you don't have a plan before you place your trades, remember traders, you might find yourself with only two options. The options are, number one, add more funds to your account to increase our margin levels. That's the only way to do it, is to add more funds to your account to increase your margin levels. Number two, close out some positions to increase your margin levels. Okay, which means that you got to start scaling out your positions in order to be able to increase your margin levels to keep the majority of positions still open, which means that traders, you might end up have to take some losses. Now, adding more funds is a simple option. I don't think we need to go into details. I think we've already explained that. Adding more funds is a simple way to go ahead and just increase your margins. But it isn't always the option, specifically for those that don't have additional funds. They cannot add more margin by adding more funds. Now, how does it work with closing out current or open orders? And which ones do we close out first? That's the biggest question right here. So here are some guidelines to how to increase your margins. Number one, closing out the pairs. All right, so not just closing out just one currency, but closing out there as not closing out one order, but closing out the whole pair. All right, not the trade, the whole pair. And so what you can do is you can look at closing out the pair with the lowest drawdown. So whatever pair, if let's say the euro US dollar has the lowest drawdown out of the five, then closing out all of those, all right, all of those euro US dollar trades, all right, will mean that you can go ahead and add more margin. Okay, so finding pairs with the smallest loss can help reduce the loss, but also increase the margin. Number two, it would help more if the smallest loss are on the pairs that have the largest margin requirement, like the CAD Swiss, which has a 4% margin requirement. So that's an option that'll help as well. Number three, close positions from the biggest loss first. The reason now that we're talking about positions, trades, right? Not just the currency pair, the whole currency pair. We're just talking about positions, right? Trades that are opened up. Okay, so it could be just one trade in the euro US dollar or one trade in the CAD Swiss, but close out the biggest loss first. The reason why you want to close out the biggest loss first is because that's the furthest away from where the market's trading. You don't want to close out the one that's closest to where the market's trading right now, because that might get you further away from your break-even point. And so if you're going to close out currency, just the trades, not the currency pair, but just the trade, all right? If you want to close out one trade in a currency pair, then you might want to have to start off with the largest one first, which basically means first in, first out. And the best way to do that is to go ahead and close it out and make sure that you're looking for maybe the lowest loss or the smallest loss, and possibly even if it's the CAD Swiss pair, that'll be even better, because that means that you're gaining more margin as well. Number four, what is important? If you close out all the trades on a pair, don't add more trades to that pair until you have more free margin. All right, so which means traders, if you're scaling out of your positions and you decide to close out a whole pair, make sure that if you do close out the whole pair, that you do not start entering new trades on that pair again. all right, until you got more free margin. Now, if you are just scaling out, which means if you're taking your biggest loss on, let's say, the pair, which is the euro US dollar, if you're taking and scaling out positions on the euro US dollar, then that's fine. You can then continue to add. And that's important that you need to realize. You need to realize that if you are closing out a a trade in a currency pair. So if you got, let's say, 10 trades in, and you start closing out the biggest loss first, if the market continues to go against you, you have to have margin to be able to keep adding in, because if you close out the first trade first, all right, or the first in, first out, if you close that trade out first, and the market continues to go against you, and you stop adding new positions, all you're doing is allowing the market to get further and further away from you. So by the time it actually starts retracing back up again, you're not going to be able to get out at break even or even make some profit on that trade. So it's very important that you make sure that you have a plan, and if you are going to be scaling out of a currency pair, meaning taking out some trades, that you don't move away too far where the market's trading, and that if you need to add more positions, make sure you have enough margin to do so. Okay. Now, fifth, a good way to keep margins up is to always change the lot sizes for each pair based on their margin requirements. This can only be applied to accounts that have a larger accounts and trade larger lot sizes per entry per currency pair. As an example, if you've got a $3,000 trading account, and we spoke about this in one of the lessons, if you've got a $3,000 trading account and you're trading aggressively, you could use the 2% margin pairs, which is the euro US dollar and the US dollar CAD, and trade 3 microlots. But then the other pairs, like the Aussie CAD and New Zealand CAD, that has a 3% margin, you can use 2 microlots for that. And then for the pairs that are traded with the pair that's traded with the 4% margin, which is the CAD Swiss, then go ahead and just use 1 microlot for every entry point. That's a way to be able to just adjust your margin levels so that you don't over leverage, and allow yourselves to be able to trade the pairs that have lower margin, trade that more aggressively, but those that have higher margin, to trade that a little bit more conservatively. Okay. Now, if your account is not big enough to have these different lot sizes, then you want to trade it aggressively, then the option to bank your profits every 3 months would be the best option. And of course, then also the choice to select the amount of currency pairs that you focus on as well. Now, remember, traders, that this is just a guideline. It's a guideline. I am also on the Master Signal account, just so that you know. On the Master Signal account, I'm actually making the adjustments where there are going to be a change in the lot sizes. So because I'm changing the change in the lot sizes, I might have a difference in the profit potential on my account. But I think I'm going to do this on my master account. I'm going to do this because I want to make sure that if it ever comes down to where there are drawdowns, this might help me to also reduce my margin requirements for each position and allow me to have more free margin for my drawdowns. So I'm going to go ahead and make that adjustment and actually break it down just like you see it here in this example by using this scaled lot size based on the different pairs that have different margin requirements. Try it out, see that it helps you with your margin.